hey, I'm glad you gave me a call. What's going on? Are you still in foreclosure? Yes, they're still in foreclosure. And bottom line, most likely, the auction date is tomorrow. What's going on, family? Today, I want to talk to you about the use of ChatGPT in order to get more motivated sellers. Now, whether you're a wholesaler, a fix and flipper, Airbnb, whatever your space is as it relates to real estate investing, you can leverage the use of artificial intelligence. Now, I know everybody's talking about how ChatGPT is going to change every industry, period. Well, I've come to realize that they're most likely right. I've tested out ChatGPT in order to get in front of more distressed property owners and more motivated sellers in order to make sure I could do more deals. My prospecting has 10x and went through the roof, all off for use of this simple trick that I'm about to show you. Now, first things first, I want to talk to you really quickly about understanding how to communicate with motivated sellers or distressed sellers, whatever you want to call them. Now, before we dive into ChatGPT, I want to talk to you really briefly about how to structure a conversation. Now, most of you are going to say, man, I already know how to talk to motivated sellers. I talk to them all the time. Well, the problem is most people don't understand how to structure a conversation where there's no new conversation under the sun. So whether it's via text, via email, or via phone call, if you have these three components involved in the conversation, you can't fail. And it's going to be important to understand that when we start using ChatGPT. You'll see when we get there. All right. So first of all, you have to understand the theory behind value propositions. I always tell people, AVB, always bring value. When you do that, you are able to answer questions for them. You're able to assist them. You're able to help them. And you're able to create a sense of convenience for them. Now, keep in mind, when you're talking to a foreclosure, you have to let them know they're facing foreclosure. One of the funniest and craziest things I ever hear is when these so-called gurus and coaches and mentors say, hey, a person is going through foreclosure. Don't tell them that you know. What sense does that make? Because knowing what problem they have gives you the ability to talk about how you can solve said problem. So don't fall for the okie doke. Understand that in order to get further with these property owners, you have to provide some sense of value, because if you're not providing value, all you want is to buy their house, or you just want their house, and all they want after that is just a lot of cash, right? So understand how to craft your value propositions, because you're going to make sure your conversations go a lot further with these motivated sellers and distressed sellers. Now, the second thing is creating a sense of urgency or a sense of scarcity. For lack of a better word, it means your offer is not evergreen. Now, I'm sure you all encountered this where someone's facing foreclosure and you talk to them earlier on in the year. Eventually, you get this call from them and you're super excited. It's like, hey, I'm glad you gave me a call. What's going on? Are you still in foreclosure? Yes, they're still in foreclosure. And bottom line, most likely, the auction date is tomorrow. That's usually how it happens for me. I'm not sure about you. And the reason why that happens is because we have this long conversation with them and they tell us, hey, follow up with me in 2 months. And you actually wait the 2 months because they think your offer is going to be there forever. They give you a call back and think you can still help them in a situation that is as pertinent as the auction being looming for the very next day. We can't do that. So we have to use phrases like time sensitive. Time is of the essence. I have a limited buy-in criteria. My resources are drying out. All type of different terms you can use to make them act quicker, because you don't want to be in a situation where you would have had a deal had you made it happen 2 months prior. Now, the last piece of how to structure conversations with motivated sellers is the most important piece. It's your CTA, call to action. Now, a call to action basically tells the motivated sellers what to do and when to do it. So back in the day, a lot of commercials always said, call me now, right? How do you want me to contact? I want you to call. When do I want you to call me? Call me right now. Any interaction you have with a motivated seller or distressed seller, you want to make sure there is a call to action, because the conversation is absolutely for nothing. All that rapport building and all those problem solving conversations that you have with that individual is for absolutely nothing if they don't know how to contact you and when it's favorable for them to get in contact with you. So I hope that backdrop gave you a lot of insights of how to communicate with motivated sellers. And we are going to move on to learning about ChatGPT and the uniqueness of ChatGPT. I'm going to move over to this ChatGPT screen and I'm going to show you what the actual program looks like. What I would suggest you do is sign up using Gmail. That's what I use. It was super simple. Also, I signed up for the free version. If you look down here, you see it's asking me to upgrade to Plus. I'll be honest, I have no clue what you get if you go up to Plus. So I'm good where I am now. There are some glitches in the free version, and I may actually show you a few of them. If we encounter them, I'll show you some workarounds. So let's work our way through it. Bear with me. My goal is to create a text message sequence. All right, I'm gonna tell you what our goal is. Create a text messaging sequence for a vacant property owner or retired landlord, and we're gonna write from the perspective of being a cash buyer. Okay, so I just want to frame that for you so you'll know how we're going to communicate with ChatGPT. The most important thing is giving it good commands and giving it good information. The conversation that you have with artificial intelligence is the key part. You have to know what they're giving you, and you have to craft it and give them back good information, and it's a give and take. That's what you have to understand. It's a give and take. So I'm going to move this to large screen so maybe you can see this better, and we're going to try to go ahead and start crafting these messages. So let's do the first one, and let's see if we'll get a glitch. Let's see if we get a glitch, and if we do, I'm going to show you a workaround. So let's just keep it simple and plain. Write a text message asking, well, let's say offering to purchase a home for cash. See what we get. All right. This is a glitch. Somewhat of a glitch. All right. So y'all see that we just asked it specifically to write us a text message. And we're going to come back to this later, but I'm going to show you how to use this information. This is a nice little sneaky hack, and I'm glad it actually did that. Because we're going to come back and use this information. But we have to be even more specific in the information that we give this thing, right? So it says, write a text message offering to purchase a home for cash. I'm going to open up a new chat window because I want to save this message for later, and we're going to circle back to this if we have time. All right, so let's write this thing one more time. What can we be more specific about? Write a 3-sentence text message offering to pay cash for a property. See what we get. Wow, right? Do you see how specific that has to be? That's very, very specific. All right. So what we're going to look at is, hi there. Okay, pretty simplistic. Hope this message finds you well. Okay, basically, greetings. I'm interested in purchasing your property, and I'm willing to pay cash. If you're open to discussing a potential sale, I would love to hear more about the property and explore details further. Looking forward to your response. All right. So the first thing you want to do is clean this message up to sound more like you. Now, I'll be honest with you. ChatGPT is not the easiest place to do edits. So what I usually do is copy and move this over to my Microsoft because it's just easier to interact with it here. Okay. And it's going to be a little wonky looking, so I hope you can read it. I'll try to make it a little bit bigger so you can see it. So, okay, I'm going to say, okay, it says hi there. For me, because this is going to be a text message sequence, I'm going to put name right here. All right. And we put name in the brackets. Let's do actual brackets, because if you're going to do a text message automation, you're going to want to put the name in the bracket, and that signals the automation to use the actual real name. So hi, name. I hope this message finds you well. I'm interested in purchasing your property. For me personally, I don't like leading with cash all the time. So for me, I would put, I'm interested in purchasing your property, and leave it there. You want this to be short and sweet because this is the first email of our sequence. If you're open to discussing a potential sale, I would love to hear more about. I hate words like love because you don't want to really draw on emotion when you're talking about somebody's piece of real estate. If you're open to discussing, I'm open to hear more about the property. Okay, you want to shorten this as much as possible. I'll show you why. Now, the one thing is missing is the most important thing. We said the call to action. All right, so our value proposition is innate, right? You're not going to always have all three components in every single message. The theory in the sequence is to capture all three components in the sequence. That makes sense? So we're not going to it's text messaging, right? So we're not going to just cram every component in there, but we want to make sure that within the entire 10 sequences of text messages that we get to use all three components. The one thing I would encourage you to try to use is a call to action in every one. So right now it says, hi, I hope this message finds you well. I'm interested in purchasing your property. If you're open to discussing a potential, let's see. If you're open, that was very, they did that too many times. If you're open to hear more about my offer, give me a call back. All right, that's it, right? Super simple. I hope this message finds you well. I'm interested in purchasing your property. If you're open to hear more about my offer, give me a call back. Very simple. All right. And again, this can use a little tweaking. So what I'm going to do is copy this message. And then we're going to go back over to ChatGPT because I know you didn't think we were done. So this is the beauty of it. Now we've given it a message and we'll type it in there. All right. So now what we'll do is say, they're going to take our message and expand upon it. And we could go in and edit it again, but we're going to leave it right there. And then we're going to say, write a 10 text message sequence like the one above. And let it generate. All right. So now we have 10 text messages. Now we have an entire sequence. When I get this, what I do is I pull this out of here and I move it back over to my Microsoft Word or Word document. And I start editing each one. All right. Let's see if we go off dark mode. See if you can see this better. And let's see if we change the color of this. See if this looks better. This looks really difficult to read. Bear with me for a second. Let's see if we can go to view. We might just have to leave it like this, but I was hoping we can change the text color. Let's see. Nope. Here we go. All right, maybe that's a little bit better. I know I can see it better. All right, so with that being said, the first message, hey, hope you're doing well. Came across your property listing, wanted to. Now, okay, this one says I came across your property listing and wanted to express my interest in buying it. It's not a property listing, right? So we're going to pull that out. We're just going to say came across your property and wanted to express my interest in buying it. I think that's good. If you're open to discussing a cash offer, call to action, right? Give me a call. Let's say text me back. Right? Text me back. I like the first day to get text messages, right? I think that's good. Like, and also know if you ask them to call you back, know what to be expecting back, right? Like if you put give me a call back, they're going to expect your phone to be ringing back, right? So, hey, they use the name, and you see how they copied that all the way through. Hope you're doing well. I came across your property and want to express my interest in buying it. If you're open to discussing a cash offer, text me back. Perfect. Okay. Now, this is a little sneaky hack. What we could do we could just take that one because I really like how this one sounds, and we could put this one back. We could put this one back in ChatGPT and ask for 10 more like this, right? So just know how this 10 can instantly turn into 100 text messages, and you could just keep expanding, keep modifying, keep changing your messaging and your sequence. The key word that I use in ChatGPT on this one that I want to really hammer home is this word, sequence. Because if I just said write 10 text messages like the one above, they wouldn't be linear. They would just be individual text messages, and they're trying to get to the same goal. But the way they write it, if you ask for a sequence, they're going to try to write it somewhat linear. So keep that in mind. Wording is everything, and what you input is the most important thing as it relates to what ChatGPT spits out. All right, so our next one is hi again. And for me, I would ask them for a sequence. Why? I won't say their name again. I'll just say hi again. Just wanted to follow up about see that words like follow up, that's only injected if you ask them for a sequence. All right. So just wanted to follow up on my previous message about your property. I'm a serious buyer and I'm prepared to pay cash. I like that. If you're interested in exploring this opportunity, please reach out. Okay. If you're interested in exploring this opportunity, call me today. Easy, right? You see how much of their verbiage we actually could use. Now, what I would suggest, or what I would assume, is as we add these call to actions at the end, the more you do this, and you take this one and put it back in ChatGPT and ask for 10 or 5 or 15, most of those are going to have a call to action. Then you do the same thing for this one. Before you know it, you're going to have so many different sequences, you're not going to know what to do with, right? I'm going to show you how to use those for other things. All right, so hi, hope all is well. I understand you might be busy, but I wanted to emphasize my genuine interest in purchasing your property. I love that I understand you might be busy, because that goes into the sequence, especially if you have automations built in that if they actually pick up the phone or text you back or whatever, the automation stops. This is very good for someone that hasn't picked up the phone after you continuously call them. All right. So that interjecting that I understand you might be busy speaks to them writing in the sequence. But I wanted to emphasize my genuine interest in purchasing your property. Okay. I love that. You see, I just used the word love, but I don't like the word love when you're talking about offers and talking about property. So right here, I would remove the word love. And she talks about having a cash offer on the table. I start after a while moving away from the word cash offer because they get that part. What I would do, they have general interest in the property. I would say let's have a conversation. I would get a little bit more pushy. I like to be very direct to try to get them to move. Let's have a conversation about it today. I'll put I'm available after 3. The next one, and I'm not going to read through all of them. I think you're starting to get the I guess the theory behind what we're doing. The next one, hi, it's been a few days since I last reached out. Now, keep in mind, if you're going to put things like that, understand that if you're doing an automation, you want to move this one. You want to set the automation to trigger after maybe 2 days or 3 days, because if this triggered the very next day, it won't make sense. All right. So just keep that in mind. So this is very useful if you're going to use it. If you take a 2-day period, let's say you decide not to do automations on Saturday and Sunday, this will make sense. And it says, it's been a few days since I last reached out. That would be perfect. I'm still very much interested in buying your property. And I don't like if you're considering selling, not when you get this deep into it, because you have to assume that they're considering selling, because then it sounds like you're just beating them over head. If you're going to say, if you're considering selling, I would move that earlier in the sequence, because then the question, it makes more sense, right? Now you haven't really asked permission. So at this point, just Just don't ask now, right? And I would say this, it's like I'm still very much interested in buying your property. I'm here and ready to chat. Can you talk today? This is when I start asking questions. Can you talk today? Because now I'm looking for yes or no answers. I'm here and ready to chat. And you probably need to put a comma here or something, or a period. That works. And this is the last one I'll do, and then we'll move on, and I'll show you some other nuances. Hello again. I understand that selling your property can be a big decision. I actually like that. However, I want to assure you that I'm a serious buyer and ready to proceed with a cash offer. With this, I would start talking about convenience. So I would say, I understand that selling a property can be a big decision. However, I want to assure you that I'm a serious buyer and will make the process convenient. All right. Yeah. That's why you have spell check, right? And what I would do here is say, are you available now? Right? So as I get further and further, I start asking to communicate with them now. Now, one of my last messages that I'm going to write, it's going to be something to the lines of this, and I'm not going to type it out. I just want you to listen to this part. I'm going to say something to the effect of, the market has shifted and my buying criteria is changing daily. If you're interested in a cash offer, please contact me today. As I get further and further, right? And I'm going to give you a little hack real quick. This is one of the upper level ones. Sometimes the last message we send will just be their name, and it'll just be a question mark. That has like at the end of a sequence, you'll be surprised. You'll think these people's numbers don't even work. And then you type that to them and then they answer. Another one that I like to do at the end is this. Are you there? For some reason, those two really get to them. Now, I'm going to show you one last time because I like this last message just to show you, like, if we went in here and we copy it and we go back in here and we paste it. It's going to give us one. And then we say, write him more like the message above. Now we got another 10 more coming. Now we got 20, right? So I just wanted to kind of let you guys see that and the simplicity of you leveraging ChatGPT to be in front of more motivated sellers. Now, as I said, I'm going to share one last thing, because even when ChatGPT messes up, we can use the data that it puts out. So if we go here, this is actually a letter. So many of us still do direct mail. For me, with direct mail, you got to do something special with it, right? The first thing you need to know is if you're going after vacant properties, you shouldn't send a letter to the vacant property. Why? Oh, because it's vacant. So you want to look at the tax billing address, and you can still send them direct mails. So one thing I do is I use like those brown manila envelopes because it looks really serious. And sometimes I may stamp urgent and red on the envelope and then put a letter in there. The open rate seems to be pretty good. And you'll use this letter to place in the mail and send to them. You also can take this letter, or this letter that it wrote, ChatGPT wrote for us, and craft an email out of it, right? So what you would do is copy this, take it over to Microsoft Word or Google Word or what have you, and make sure that you modify it a bit and then put it back in ChatGPT and let it make some changes and then go back and forth like we did. So even when this thing makes some mistakes, you can always use the data, right? So this, I would actually modify it a bit and turn it into a letter and then turn it into an email. So I'm hoping all this was helpful. This is how I use ChatGPT to communicate with more motivated sellers. Keep in mind, with this system, the first thing you have to understand is what? you have to know what to say to them. Most important is always include the 3 components: value proposition, sense of urgency, and call to action. All right. You don't have to have it in every text message, but you need to make sure the sequence has all 3 components and it flows, right? By the end, you have to be creating a very, very big sense of urgency. How do we use ChatGPT? What are the steps we take? First, very, very first, start small, write one message and be very clear. Secondly, copy the message, take it off the platform, work on it, edit it, because it's just so much easier. And then once you perfect it, sounding like your tone and putting some of the nuances in it, put it back in ChatGPT, and then you scale up, you ask it to write 10 more, right? Once you get your 10, you can go through each one and modify it and sound more and more like your tone, perfect it more, and you can input those one at a time back into ChatGPT and get 10 more for each one. Now, I hope this was helpful. And if it is, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can hear more content like this. Holler at you soon. Enjoy the use of ChatGPT and write a comment below and let me know how these messages are working out. Let me know your top message that's been working for you so maybe we can help each other. All right. Holler at you soon. Peace.